right, ladies and gentlemen, tonight on Sportswire Radio, we're about to go Forsaken. That's right, Matthew Forsaken. He's our guest here tonight to talk about the DKW side of this war that has been the talk, I would dare say, of the wrestling world between Dark Cryptic Wrestling and the Iowa Mid Wrestling Federation, the Midwestern Federation themselves. It has been the war that everyone has talked about here, especially on Sportswire Radio. And we saw kind of what the IMF guys, Soldier GP, the Popular Monster, and the current IMF champion, Omen Black, has said. And Forsaken himself has been in the ring with him, and he's got a lot to say and a lot of responses, I know. He needs no further introduction because he is a world champion. We're going to give it to him anyway. So, with without further ado here on the Sports Report, the number one global sports show, wrestling star here from Dark Cryptic Wrestling, the DKW. He's our heavyweight champion of the world, Matthew Forsaken. The champ is here. My friend, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'll let you know in an hour or so after my voice, because I almost feel like this time my voice was going to crack. But no, here nor there. Obviously, it is a tremendous honor to have you. And I'm excited to have you and kind of talk about the Dark Cryptic Wrestling side of things here. Because as you know, these past couple of weeks, we've heard quite a bit from the IMF. Even last night, we were talking with another wrestling company called Wrestling Championship Entertainment. And the guys there from the IMF certainly had a few things to say about them. But I want to get your side of things here. So first of all, for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, Matthew Forsaken, talk about what it means to you to represent DKW here in this war with the IMF.
All right, the war between DKW and IMF.
Yes, sir.
That's a story in its own. See, this title that I hold, right? It's the DKW World Championship. I know it means a lot to like Dark Kron and Combat Joe, but to me, really, me having it and them suffering, them wanting this belt so bad, as they fight and put their blood on the line for this, and they don't have it. The fact that I have it, like, that gives me pleasure. So it's causing them pain is what makes me happy holding this title.
Interesting.
And that war between DKW and IMF, see, it's all started when Omen Black wanted to open his mouth and call me out, the Forsaken one. So we invited him to come to DKW in Ohio, and he did. The stipulations that were involved, he put me through a table, so he does get a title shot. Omen Black deserves the title shot for DKW World Championship. Or if everybody already knows, it's going to be all out hell. And I don't think Omen Black's ready for that.
You sure about that, though? Because we had Mr. Black himself a couple of times on Sportswire, informally in his spot about 2 or so weeks ago, and he spoke about that, and he spoke about the situation at hand. And I mean, he's a big man, and you dealt with him firsthand, and I've got a chance to see him a couple different times here. 5'11", 385 pounds. I know you were Forsaken, and I know you've done a great job in representing DKW, but you felt his wrath, and we spoke about the fact they went into your building and they took care of business. So, I mean,
yeah. Well, Omen did. Omen put me through a table. I get that. See, all out hell, put me through a table ain't going to end it. There's way more to it.
We saw that barbed wire there you had attached there to some wooden stuff there. I mean, so you seemed like you might be more prepared, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of barbed wire. The last match me and Omen had, he tried to do this thumbtack spot. I'm gonna show you how thumbtacks are done right. I got thousands of them. They're coming.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm going to come back to Mr. Black, but I do have a comment because there's another person that you addressed in your most latest promo, which we can find, of course, on the DKW YouTube page, and also here that is from Mr. Felix Jones.
Let's
Yep, you
see
knew this
what
was
you got to
coming.
say. Yeah?
This was the man that eliminated you in the Rumble there not too long ago. And he says, have fun holding that title because June 18th, I'm taking your title, and I'm going to show everyone why I'm the best in the Midwest and the prince of backyard wrestling. So, what do you have to say toward that?
You're the prince of backyard wrestling, Felix. Huh? So there was actually a guy in the Rumble called the Prince, right?
Yes,
The big
yes,
man.
yes, yes, yes.
Big man didn't do nothing to Forsaken. Forsaken handled the Prince. And if you call yourself Felix, Mr. Fix It himself, the Prince of Backyard, you're not the Prince of Backyard. You got lucky eliminating Forsaken. You want to step to me, and I'm telling you, like, in the cage, rage in the cage, you're about to change. You're not going to leave the same man that you are now. I promise you that.
All right, I'm going to come back to that in a second, but I want to get to somebody here from another company. It's not the company that some people might be thinking of. It's actually somebody here from New York. That is John The Rock Jackson from our friends over at the RWA, the Rochester Wrestling Alliance. And he says, The Rock says, just bring it. I got respect from OBJ. Funny joke, got respect for this man. Do you know a John The Rock Jackson by any chance? Have you heard of this individual? Because it seems like he knows a little bit about you guys and he's following, I guess, what's going on here. So any thoughts here on these outside companies?
Honestly, I just recently heard about some Rochester wrestling. But you know what? I didn't reach out, but now he's reaching out here. Just bring it. Trust me, we all shall be forsaken.
All right, so maybe the old adage is be careful what you wish for?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I will bring you everything, blood and violence, pain and suffering. That's inevitable when it comes to Matthew Forsaken.
You do like that stuff. I will say that compared to some other yarders, you definitely are comfortable in those elements. But I want to ask you something that I spoke about with Soldier and also with Mr. Black himself. And it's the fact that you guys went in now and they came into your building and they won, right? Basically, they won. They got the upper hand. And I kind of feel like right now the pressure's on you guys coming up here in a month from now because you're going now into their building, their house. And I mean, how do you deal with that pressure? Because these guys walked into your house and took it over. And now you got to go into their environment, their elements in a territory that you're not really comfortable with. And you got to go and deal with their environment and their situation. So to address this.
They came to Ohio, right?
Yep.
We had a few matches. There was 5 matches on the card, if you remember.
Yes, I do.
DKW handled, no problem. Maybe DKW got a little arrogant, underestimated the rest of the IMF roster. We happened to lose the next 3. But we actually showed up in Iowa already in the Rumble in the Yard. And not as much as I don't like Dark Kron that much, but he did win the IMF Rumble. He's going to take that title for a moment at Rage in the Cage. But once Dark Kron's done handling that, me and him, we unfinished business still.
I'm going to get to that business, and I'm going to get to Mr. Jones in a second. I'm going to try to keep up with the Joneses here. But I actually have a wrestler from another side of the world who I do owe an appearance to on Sportswire Radio, and he actually is addressing you here. You just never know what you get here tonight on Sportswire. That is Killjoy himself, Mr. Dan Robertson, who is via the Nonstop Action Wrestling Company, also CCW Colory Championship Wrestling, seen him in places like Blackheart, GT Ministries, and he says Evening from the Cult, and also Nice Belt would look better in Britain. Do you have anything to say to that?
Come to the States, boy. Feel free to try to take it from me.
So you're saying you would welcome certainly Mr. Robertson out and to come to Ohio and see you guys then?
I'll welcome anybody and everybody, because soon we all shall be forsaken.
Well, I'm gonna let everybody know you can do that by going on YouTube at Dark Cryptic Wrestling. That's both with a K. Please follow them on YouTube. They got over 400 subscribers. You can see a lot of content here from Mr. Matthew Forsaken. So I would imagine that when Mr. Robertson comes on to Sportswire at the end of the month, I'll see what he thinks about that. So certainly a big shout out though to Dan Robertson. Dan's got a big match coming up here about almost about 13 days from now. He's going to be in the rubber match against Young Horace and Nonstop Action Wrestling Zenith. So I want everybody to follow the Cult of Killjoy himself. I actually own his merchandise, so I want to make sure I do give him a plug. But he also says here he'll make sure to RSVP. So I guess he's going to RSVP his trip to the United States. So what's the nearest airport then for Mr. Robertson? What is the nearest airport?
Columbus National Airport, Ohio. There you go. You get that.
All right. Because I know that the IMF guys could probably drive to you. It's a long drive, but they could drive to you. But for those of us around the world or other parts of the country, we have to think about what's the nearest airport. But let me come back to Mr. Jones, as I promised here. Right. I'm not going to leave the same man because I'm going to leave the DKW World Heavyweight Championship. Now, you got to feel pressure, though. But do you feel pressure because let's take a step back. The hardcore champion of DKW is Soldier GP, the popular monster. If Felix Jones has his way, he's going to have your championship. All of a sudden, DKW should just be renamed to the IMF. So talk about maybe that you got to be facing some pressure here.
Come on, Tom. You think we're going to rename DKW IMF? There's no way.
If Felix has got the title, and Omen's got, and you've got Omen, and then you've got obviously Soldier GP with the hardcore title. I mean, yeah,
I know Omen's a monster. I get that. Omen's the champ now. It's fine. Me and Soldier don't necessarily have any beef.
True. Fair play.
He doesn't like Omen. I don't like Omen. Why not? I know Omen wanted to become the IMF World Heavyweight Champion. I didn't want him to, but he did. So, the first promo I ever shot on Omen Black, he wasn't a champion like I am.
You did mention that, correct.
Make me eat my words. I get it. Well, you know what, Felix Jones? You're a child. You got lucky in the Rumble. I looked over you. I didn't expect you to do anything, honestly. But you just wait. Rage in the cage, Felix. You're going to leave totally different. And not the DKW World Champion.
All right. I mean, listen, I still say the pressure's on you guys right now. I understand you've been there in their building, but they came into your house. You're the man in DKW. You were the guy. And to be fair, listen, Omen, which you are correct partially, Omen talks, but you know what? He's backed it up. Ask Anthony Steele. We had Anthony Steele on here. Anthony Steele's going on and on and on like the Energizer Bunny. But the facts is that Anthony Steele, he didn't get the job done against Omen Black. And then we've had on the Nemesis James Taylor. I'm sure you've heard of that guy. And Mr. Taylor himself, he's talked about wrestling in the IMF against these guys. And we still don't know when and if that'll ever happen. So right now, to be fair, I'll even go further. Omen Black was with us last night with the Wrestling Championship Entertainment guys, the resident rock star Sean Joby, the RCW champion, and now the Psycho Wolf Nicholas Crenton. And, I didn't really get the sense last night. This is totally shoot. This is a pipe bomb. I didn't get the sense that they were almost like ready to box these guys, because if you look at Omen Black and Soldier GP, you've seen them up close. These guys, they back up their words so far. That's what I've seen so far. I mean, what do you say to all that?
I mean, I do have to give respect to that. Omen did call us out. We invited them to Ohio. They showed up, and they brung it. Like, Omen is a monster. I know that. Hey, I'm kind of glad Soldier did that concerto to Dark Crime. That was pretty badass. That DKW World title, hardcore title that Soldier is currently holding, I mean, I may want it in the future, but again, I don't have a problem with Soldier right now, so I'll let him.
Okay, I understand. Listen, I understand that, and there's no question that I think Soldier and Omen, they have some unfinished business. So I certainly get all that here. But I mean, I know you've said some things here so far about DKW and the world title, and different things, and certainly some people might be, unhappy with you being the champion. But talk about the fact that you were able to retain your title not too long ago against Phantom, and after what he did to you in the contract signing, you were able to get the job done. So I thought for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio that haven't got a chance to watch the match, talk about how you were able to successfully defend your DKW heavyweight championship.
Oh, very easy. You watch that back. Phantom, right? He's one of the younger guys. He's a smaller card guy. I kind of put him in that match myself because Combat Joe and Darkron, they want to get the title again, but I'm tired of them challenging me for it. So I decided to bring someone new up, and I threw Phantom's name out there. Didn't think he would actually accept, but he did. And he put a table stipulation, which, hey, I'm not too great at tables matches. I have no problem going through them. He actually put me through a table in the contract signing. Cool. But in the match for the DKW world title, Phantom went to the well too many times and went for that spinning wheel kick and just caught him and just smashed him through that table like it ain't nothing. Smart's here. I've been in the ring too long. I ain't no rookie.
I was going to ask you, because one of the things I noticed about you versus, let's say, some other wrestlers, even, let's say, hypothetically on the roster, is that you do have that wrestling IQ. You do have those ring smarts, and maybe in a way, kind of not so much to compare you to a Ric Flair type, but a la Ric Flair, you've got that science of the sport, that kind of psychology that helps you at the end of the day get the job done. I mean, talk about how important your experience in the ring has been in terms of keeping you as the champion here.
See, for like most young champions, the first time they get the taste of the gold, they're just excited, like, oh, I'm on the top of the world. And see, like, they're not worried about the next match, they're not worried about defending it, not worried about what's coming in the following weeks. I already know what's happening. I already have plans. I've already set things in people's minds. I'm already in everybody's minds. That's why Combat Joe can't beat me. That's why Dark Kron can't even face me. Can't even make it to a title shot against me. I play everybody's mind games. Like all these mind games, everybody is just falling and trapped to me. Like I control DKW without them even knowing it.
Interesting. Now, you said something interesting, and I want to talk about this here for a few minutes as we're here with the DKW champion of the world here, Matthew Forsaken. And please follow our friends over at Dark Cryptic Wrestling on YouTube at Dark Cryptic Wrestling. And they have some huge shows coming up, especially July the 1st. We're going to see a whole lot of talent from not just in DKW, but especially in IMF. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, the man, the myth, the legend behind Sportswire Radio. But champ, you talked about the fact that sometimes, and this is a question that's come up on Sportswire, because we spoke with wrestlers all over the world. You can see that just in some of the comments here. I always ask a wrestler when they first win the title or they're in that chase to get the title. And I think that there are certain wrestlers sometimes they hold the title or they're chasing the title. It's almost like they're like a dog chasing their own tail. But meanwhile, you kind of have the experience here of being a champion, and you're one of those wrestlers in the category that I've had on here and over the past 4.5 years that when it comes to the big moment, you kind of rise to the occasion. And why are you different than when, let's say, a number of wrestlers that I see who get the title maybe for the first time, or a younger wrestler and all of a sudden kind of are chased for the first time, and it's kind of they succumb to the pressure. I mean, talk about some of those things.
All right. So the first time they say Combat Joe won the title, he's never held gold like this before. He's never had this pressure on his shoulder to carry the company. And he lost sight of what being a champion really is. See, like I've been champion, don't really care to be champion. The fact that I hold it, I know it causes a lot of pain and suffering for other guys on the roster. So it brings me a lot of joy to hold it. So I don't hold it because I want this gold. I hold it because I know it causes everybody else pain.
I got to say something here, and you can tell me your thoughts on this, because this is the first time I have you on Sportswire. And I obviously had Soldier and Omen on as examples, and they held the IMF titles each. Even last night, Sean Joby, the RCW champion. But you're the first wrestler that I've had on here. Frankly, I've interviewed professional athletes, college basketball players, coaches, you name it. I've pretty much done it all. I've even have a background in news. You're the first person that told me basically, I don't want the prize. It's for other people, it pains them that I have the title. And I mean, is that maybe why you do so well with this? Because you're the first person, I kid you not, that I've had on in my career, not to brag or anything like that. I've done this for 4.5 years. You're the first person of any sort that I've had on Sportswire Radio that actually said, yeah, I don't want to win. Everybody else not having it, but I have it. I mean, is that why maybe your nonchalant attitude kind of keeps you kind of above thinking about those pitfalls of being a champion and kind of hanging on to it?
Yeah, you might be right. Because like winning and losing doesn't really matter. But I know in that match, that in person standing across from me, they're going to remember me. They're going to feel the pain. They will bleed. They will suffer because, again, they don't have this and they want this, and I don't care to have it, but they just can't beat me to get it because I don't care to lose it.
Again, this is, very, very interesting stuff here. And again, just that somebody actually holds a title. He's a world champion. He's the top guy. So I guess then you don't feel any pressure then as being champion, because some guys I have on in different companies, especially in England, for an example, they're a world champion. They go, Tom, it's a lot of pressure being the champion. I have to deal with kind of the pressures of promoting the company, doing things like this. And then in their little town, which I'm sure it's like in your town, they're very well known. They have to do this. They have to do that. So for you, you just don't have any qualms with that then.
Yeah. I feel no pressure because, again, it's not that I need to be champion. I just know it bothers people that I am.
Well, you definitely
I know that eats everybody alive inside, and like it's like make them work harder. I want them all, like everybody that wants this title. You're gonna have to like dig real deep. You're gonna go down to a dark place you ain't never experienced before. You're gonna become something you ain't never ever been before to beat me, to take this title from me.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, an interesting conversation here, to say the least, so far with Matthew Forsaken, the current DKW champion of the world. They have a big show coming up here on July the 1st, which, as crazy as it sounds, used to sound so far away, but it's actually 6 weeks from now. So I want everybody to go out there and support DKW. And if you're on here on Sportswire Radio for the first time, I thank you for your support. We have just about 600 followers now on Facebook, and I want everybody to follow us here on Facebook at Sportswire Radio. Also, YouTube at Sportswire Radio. A lot of new subscribers. I want to thank everybody that has supported us out there. But also, if you're out there interterrestrial world, you can go to sportnarium.com/player, where 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, we play content from all over the world. We also play music, podcast, talk, all different things. And also we simulcast these live streams that you see here on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I'll be back here a couple of more times this week, coming up here Tuesday night, 8 p.m. British Standard Time, also 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll be here with Matt Royale. Matt Royale is going to be a part of the Nonstop Action Wrestling Zen of the show. We're also going to be back here Thursday. Speaking of guys going for a title, Mr. Forsaken will have on Bentley, the vigilante of pro wrestling. Will be ready this coming weekend, Saturday, against Disciple for the GT Ministries World title. So excited to have Bentley on here in his monthly spot. But right now we are speaking with the DKW champion himself, Matthew Forsaken. And we have somebody out there from Manchester, England, that's saying hello. And I almost have to ask you a silly question, because I know you've traveled to Iowa. I mean, have you been to other places? Have you wrestled in other states? Because we do have people that are tuned in here. Before I come back to the IMF DKW, I have to ask you a fun kind of question there. Have you been?
I have to say, unfortunately, just Iowa and Ohio is really the only place I've wrestled. I've been to Canada, but I haven't been really out of the United States other than that.
Canada's not too far from you guys, actually, in a way, right? Toronto is like what, 6 hours by car, something like that? 6, 7 hours. Okay, all right. So never say
maybe, yeah.
Okay, never say never. Never say never.
Oh yeah.
Never say never. Okay, all right.
Never thought I'd be wrestling guys from Iowa, to be honest, but here we are.
So then, you know what? I'm gonna come back to that then. So, what does that mean then? I know being a champion, I got that. It's not a big deal to you. It's more about that Dark Crown doesn't have it, Combat Joe doesn't have it, Phantom doesn't have it. I got all that. But in terms of, let's say, going to a place like Iowa, which presumably I would imagine you had not been to. I mean, talk about what that experience was like, driving there, going there into territory that you hadn't been in. You didn't know what to expect. I wouldn't quite say it was like Rocky going into Russia when he fought Ivan Drago for the heavyweight title in Rocky 4. But I mean, talk about what that experience was like, though.
It was kind of a crazy experience because, believe it or not, like on our way there, it was almost a sign. There was this WWE trailer leaving Ohio, going to like Indiana or whatever, and like we were right next to it. So it's like, hell yeah, man! Like we're traveling, they're traveling. It's a big thing, you know what I mean? Like we're happy as like DKW to be working with other companies. You know, all bullshit aside, but
Right.
you know, I mean,
I won't make you break character too much here. I won't make you break the character
it's
too
not,
much.
we do appreciate the IMF guys.
Sure.
Again, they're not, you know, on my level. They want this world title again. It means more to them.
No. You know what? I have a feeling that you might see some of these individuals here tonight, but I will say that those guys have, you know, they've gone on to different places. They've been on different podcasts, and they seem to back up their talk. They seem like they're comfortable in these elements, and sometimes you know you see this a lot in sports because we do a lot of like I do a lot of college basketball. A buddy of mine was a college basketball player, and sometimes when you have like a player or a team that comes across like very fresh and kind of like their approach, sometimes those are the people. They may not necessarily be cocky, but you almost don't want to play them because they've got a certain aura about them, and is that something you see with the IMF guys? Because I mean, I watch these guys. I've seen them on podcasts. I've seen them on here. I watch their content. I see what these guys have done. Cutting promos in like 10-degree weather and being out there and doing anything they can. And they seem like they're hungry. And sometimes there was an old adage, and I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I always got this from my father. And it was if somebody was hungry, they were the most dangerous people you'd want to deal with because those people who are hungry, in order to get that meal, they'll kill you. Am I missing
Do
something
anything
here?
for it. And that's what I want. I want everybody to be hungry. I want them to come for this. I want the animal instincts to come out of everybody. I want the very best. I want like the most primal, the evil thing they can think of to get past me, the Forsaken One.
Okay, all right. So I see that there. There's no question that I certainly got that. So, I mean, I do have to talk then about the IMF and obviously Omen Black and certainly Soldier GP. I mean, is there anything that you might want to say, certainly to Mr. Black, since he might be out there, he might be listening, and anything you want to say to
Omen
him?
Black, IMF World Heavyweight Champion. If you're out there and you're listening, you know July 1st is coming sooner than you think. And all out hell, I'm going to leave you a bloody mess. And I'm going to retain the DKW World Championship.
Hmm.
And maybe one day I might have to just take that IMF World Heavyweight title off of you. Make you feel the pain and suffering as everybody else, knowing that you want to be the champion and you're not.
Now, if I told you something before I do that, I'm gonna tell you something, and I'm gonna see how you react in a second. But I do have to ask one slight detour as a follow up. And I mean, you don't seem to care of being a world champion. But let's say hypothetically, though, you did have that opportunity to take Omen Black's championship from his promotion. Would there be, let's say, any personal satisfaction for you of taking another promotion's championship?
Yeah, I'd have to say I'd probably be a little happy about it.
You would?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not that I wouldn't have to carry their company. I wouldn't care. Their company could fall for all I care. But the fact that they don't have the title, their number one championship is falling to somebody else. Yeah, that'd make me very happy.
You might be the most hated man in wrestling then because you'd have one championship ready for a company that you don't seem to care for a title, and then another championship that I'm sure that they value that championship more than you would. So you might be more hated than MJF. But before I might be able to tell you something, Mr. Felix Jones, your upcoming opponent, would like to tell you something. Talking about defending against Omen, but you're not going to have that title in July. But don't worry, I'll defend it against him. So what do you say to that?
Oh shit! All right, Felix. You know what? Maybe I am looking over you. You did eliminate me in the Rumble. Clearly, you're paying attention. You're watching. You're following along in all these podcasts. You're following.
He was here a couple of days ago. Listen, he addressed his father, Soldier GP.
I seen that, and I'm sorry, hey Soldier, if you want me and you to work together, that's cool. But as long as you're all right with me teaching your son a lesson, because when I step in the cage against Felix Jones for this GKW World Title, I'm gonna make sure he knows that his place in wrestling, that he's not on my level, and nor will he ever be on the Forsaken level. But we all shall be forsaken.
But just to confirm, you're not taking him lightly though, because he has a feather in his cap against you right now. He's got that elimination in that Rumble. That's a big thing here.
I'm sure he's eating that up. He's like, oh, I got this over him. I'm going to win. It's easy. He's going to look over that. He's going to keep feeding off the fact that he eliminated me in the Rumble. But see, you can't win by knocking me out of the ring. We're in a cage. We're locked in the ring together.
Now, before I come back to Mr. Jones, and it's interesting you brought up the fact that we're going to see this whole rage in the cage here where every match is going to be in the cage. I mean, how does that impact you? I mean, talk about that element for you, and how does that make you feel?
You see my face? I'm super excited about it.
You do like pain.
This means more violence. Blood will flow. I'm pretty sure about that. The cage, it's just placed to my side of everything. I just want violence. How can I go wrong with a cage?
Okay, so you must be in some way or another Terry Funk's illegitimate son. Then that's what it sounds to me as if like you certainly you might share the same blood with him.
Hey, look at this shirt here. We got unscripted violence, just like Mox, bro, from Cincinnati, from Ohio. I'm from Ohio.
I know that very well. Obviously, that's certainly the Les Thatcher school of wrestling, not too far from there. So that's definitely the case there. But Mr. Jones has got comments. Enough about John Moxley. Enough about Les Thatcher and everybody else. You teach me a lesson. That's funny, and you're right. I'm not on your level. I'm above you. He also points out, I'm 3-1 against Omen. You're 0-1 against him. In my first match against Omen, I was 1-0. I mean, it sounds like Felix Jones has actually got some points here. And what do you say to that before I do get to something that you might be curious of?
All right, statistics show, I guess. You have a better statistics against Omen Black than I do. That's cool. I ain't about the short game. I'm going long game, son.
Okay, all right. You know what? If you say so, I'll give you that much. But what if I were to tell you tonight that there would be a couple of individuals that you've addressed here that might be interested in saying something to you face to face? And the first one that might want to say something face to face to you is the man you saw not too long ago on the IMF, came into your house, put you through that table. That's the current champion, Mr. Omen Black. Would you like, if there was a way for Mr. Black to say something to you?
Oh, sure. If he's man enough to say something, go ahead.
So, all right. So you sure? Now,
yeah.
I will remind you, I was actually a tryout person for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And to quote Regis Philbin, is this your final answer? Are you sure?
Oh, yeah. That's my final answer. I'm sure.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to bring on then the first individual here that might want to talk with you. That is no stranger to Sportswire Radio at this point. We might as well give him royalties. That is the reigning, defending IMF World Champion from the House of Wolves, Mr. Omen Black himself. I mean, you've heard a lot from this individual here, Matthew Forsaken, Mr. Black. I'm giving you the opportunity to respond right now.
You want to talk all that trash? Get Felix comment out of here. I don't want to see that Felix comment. Get it out of here. Now, Matt, you want to seem so cocky against Felix, but yet you're not cocky against me. Now, some say that I'm thirsty for the DKW championship. I'm not thirsty. I know I'm going to take it. And all of hell, barbed wire, cage, chairs, weapons, even a kendo stick. That you know.
That kendo stick didn't work too well for you last time.
Did it get the job done, Forsaken? Did it?
Nah, misunderstanding me. I misjudged you. That's all.
Now, you look like someone I know from SBW. I can't put my finger on it, but he was buried alive. I think you know who I'm talking about.
And that's why I am who I am today. I've been buried alive. I've crawled from the depths of hell. The only reason why I'm here now, why I am forsaken, because there's only one person who believed in me.
See, in a sense, if this is Dragon Ball Z, I've already beaten your final form, Matt.
I don't follow anime. I'm sorry.
I was a Yu-Gi-Oh player, but that's a side point.
It doesn't matter, Matt. You can have fun with Felix in the cage. I know you win. Little pipsqueak can't do anything. Lost his title and his best friend.
Hey, well, apparently the statistics show that you done lost a few times against Felix. See, look at that. Let it go. Hey, Felix is mad now.
That's not my words. That's
Pull
what
up the
he's
fact.
saying. 3-1. 3-1.
Luke wins. Soldier helped him win the first one. And then the tag team match between me and Soldier. I can't really put the blame on me or Soldier. That's back in the history when Foundation was still a thing.
Fair play.
I don't care about those days.
Fair
Now,
enough.
you had the nerve to step your ugly feet into my ring and hit me with a chair, and then powerbomb me with that sack of shit, Soldier GP.
That's right. How'd that feel?
I don't know. Did it get the job done, Matt? Did you get the outcome you wanted? Did you?
Hey, I don't know what I want.
Matt, all out hell match. Your stipulations, that's fine. I hope you know it's going to be all out hell. And you like the violence. You want there to be blood.
Oh, there will be blood.
I'll make you bleed again. You know I
My
will.
blood doesn't scare me. Does the sight of your blood scare you?
I took your blood and I smeared it on my face as disrespect. I'm marking myself after I kill something. And I'm pretty sure I killed you in March.
I'm still standing, son.
For now.
Let me ask one slight question, and you can answer it any way you want. This is for either one of you individuals. You called out Omen Black Forsaken with this all hell out match and all these different stipulations, and we see that the champion here, the IMF, is prepared. He's even prepared right now with a kendo stick hitting himself. Mr. Forsaken, in any way, shape, or form, are you concerned that this could backfire on you?
Well, the last time me and Omen faced off, little stipulations, you had to put me through a table. There was no pinfall. There was no submission. There was no knockout. You got lucky.
I make my own luck, Matt.
Okay, we'll see now. All out hell. There is no more luck in all out hell. You can win by pinfall or submission, or you can win by knocking somebody out.
You know this, I'm going to tell you this. I'll be the first one in DKW history to turn that cage side into a cheese grater.
I'd gladly love to see that. But you're mistaken. You think it's going to be my face going to be cheese grater. It's going to be your face cheese grater against that cage, not mine.
Okay. And you want to talk about the tax? Yeah, I'll give you this. The tax weren't good enough. And you got tax now, that's fine. That's funny. Because I'm also bringing my own tax to make sure I get the job done. I'm going to turn you into a pincushion.
Well, I can't wait.
Me either, Matt.
And we can't wait either. And before I get to the next This Is Your Life moment, I want everybody to follow the IMF as well on Instagram at IMF_wrestling. Also like their page on Facebook. We've just tagged them here in the video. And also IMF Wrestling 666 on YouTube as well. Almost 1,000 subscribers. So join the movement, follow our friends here over at the IMF. And another individual has said hello here via, I guess I could say he's Wrestling Championship Entertainment, though he's from California. He trained in the EWF, no longer in the EWF. And that is Skulls, the Soul Hunter. So
he never shows up.
So Skulls never shows up. This is Skulls we're talking
Make a
about.
lot of appearances on this year.
I'm going to be completely honest.
Okay. All right. So he says hello, but let me ask you both individuals, though, something. If I had two individuals that requested to say hello to both of you guys in one shape or form, would you be curious? Would you want to know who these individuals are? Would you want to see them on tonight on Sportswire Radio? I mean, what do you say to that?
Is it brute force?
No, actually, he's probably with his mother celebrating Mother's Day, and he would be too scared to see you personally. Probably, I think. Wink, wink.
I said it before. I'll say it again. We all shall be forsaken. So whoever wants to say something, say something.
All right, so I'm going to bring on then here because I could see that things are starting to get interesting here on Sportswire tonight. I'm going to bring on two individuals that seem like they want to say something, and they've requested the floor. The first one for you, Omen Black, is the popular monster, Mr. Heel Life himself, the DKW Hardcore Champion of the World, Mr. Soldier GP. And then for you, Mr. Forsaken, your longtime nemesis in the DKW, Mr. Dark Kron himself. I mean, boy, it's getting interesting here.
Hello.
How are you guys doing tonight here, first of all?
Doing pretty good. What's up, sack of shit? IMF champ. What's up, champ?
DK Dub champ. You got my hardcore title. Don't forget that, soldier.
Yeah, I'm holding that DKW World title. You want so bad too?
Taking that back. I'll be taking both them titles.
I see it. I took two.
Hey, Kron. I want to say you're welcome. I'm going to tell you right now, you're welcome for making this belt relevant. You're welcome.
Keep building that prestige. It'll look better when it's back on me.
It'll never be back on you because you can't beat me.
I'll beat you. Just like I'm going to beat Omen and take your IMF title.
Yeah.
Bring that back to Ohio.
You put your nose in business that it didn't belong. So now it's personal, son.
I got the.
I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn about the belt. I'll put the title on the line. I don't give a damn about the belt anymore. It's past that. You put your nose in business that it didn't belong.
In this
Omen, I'll talk to you in a second. My turn.
No, you ain't gonna shut me up.
I sat in the back.
Hey.
I sat backstage listening to you run your mouth. You shut your mouth and you listen to me. Kron, you put your nose in business that didn't belong. The title, whatever. The title is just a title. I don't care. July 1st, I'm coming to whip your ass. So I hope that you're prepared because I'm going to beat the shit out of you. You think that concerto was bad the first time?
Like I said.
Wait until the next time. Wait till July 1st.
I promise.
How's your head, Dark?
Surprise for you, buddy.
Concerto hasn't hurt still, huh?
You want to talk about surprises? Remember I told you I have a surprise for you, Soldier? I'll give you a date when the surprise is going to happen. May 27th.
Oh, wait, that's 13 days from now. Springtime Rumble.
May 27th.
13 days from now.
For you again.
Ooh. 13 days from now.
I would spoil it. I'm not going to be in that match. That handicap match ain't worth my time.
Yeah, watch what I do to your clowns in that match.
Just make sure you keep your title.
That surprise is going to happen in that match.
You concerned at all, Soldier? Because we spoke a little bit about the situation, obviously, with you, and you didn't know with the IMF, and it was, I gotta say, Thursday night, it was a topic that made you pause a little bit. Remember we asked you that question about boarding with your son.
It pisses me off that he had to use Kron, his little cronies, but to get the job done, he had to use my son.
That's my own.
Yeah, that pisses me off.
That was for me.
One step ahead of you,
Omen. He's an easier. I could beat him easier than I could beat you. I know that. That's why I want him to win the title, so I could take your title.
What you need to do is be a barber. That haircut, you need to get it cut. Now, Kron, I've already beat 2 of these guys. What makes you so different?
I'm a different person altogether. I got a different style than both of them.
You underestimated me by helping me, in a sense. You helped me to win.
Speaking of that, since you wanted to put your nose in business that didn't belong, Kron.
I don't think that's
and I can't go for that title, but that doesn't mean I can't fight you, Omen. I got a match. How about the 2 of you jackasses take on the only champions in DKW, the hardcore champ and the world champ, in a tag match July 1st. Before
well, you got it all wrong, Soldier. I'll be world champion by the time that match happens.
And I'll be the IMF champion by the time that happens.
Yeah. Keep talking like crazy like that.
Now, do you still want to do this, Soldier?
Regardless, you 2 want to fight us or not?
I want to get my hands on both of them, and I can't get my hands on Omen for a world title match. That's fine.
You know where the compound's at.
But I can fight him in a match. So I'm challenging me and Forsaken versus the 2 jackasses, Kron and Omen Black.
That's right. But y'all too scared. We understand. It's fine.
I'll take care of you in a couple of weeks, Omen. And then we can bury the hatchet there. I'll accept the challenge.
So you've accepted
on both of you.
So the first match on July 1st, me and Forsaken versus the 2 of you. And then later on that night, I get to whip your ass again. It's like, I came up with that beat up James Taylor Day, right?
Yep.
July 1st is going to beat up Dark Kron Day. And I'm going to beat your ass.
Just remember who won the Rumble. I went through 19 men.
You see how you didn't mention
Luke. Luck.
I remember the Rumble. I remember the only reason why you won that Rumble is because Omen came out to interfere and distract Prince, which is a coincidence that you came out later that night to help him beat me.
Yeah, seemed like some shitty shit in the works there, huh?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mr. Forsaken,
ain't got nothing to know what's going on, huh?
Mr. Forsaken, does that mean you accept as well? Do you accept being Soldier's partner July the 1st?
I'm going to whip these 2 jackasses' asses one more time. It'd be great.
All right, no,
again. Dark Kron, I'll split you open with the barbed wire chair shot. Don't matter. We'll play it all back one more time.
I ain't afraid to bleed. You want to be?
You know what I can? I will
tag match. Is that what you want?
Predict. I will predict. It's not a prediction. This is gonna be a spoiler. Kron, you're gonna take a lot of concertos on July 1st.
I'll render my barbed wire steel chair for one. Hope you're ready, Dark Kron.
And by the time I'm done with you, you're not gonna remember who you are. And I'm gonna come back to Iowa. Hardcore champ.
No.
I'm gonna have that belt in Iowa. You keep that belt there.
That's not happening. I'll take all your titles.
Nah.
I'll have all your titles by the end of summer. How about that?
What's up?
I'll take all the titles.
You gotta get through. Listen, the way the popular
all 3 of your titles
right now. Are you sure? Are you sure you can pull that off, Carl? Because I'm looking at right now, Soldier, the popular monster, heel life 24/7. The way he's holding that championship. Okay.
That was your title, Dark Kron. What happened? Let's go.
How about you watch this Saturday? You watch what I do to the Sieve defending your title.
I'll be watching.
I want to ask you something, Dark Kron, because this was something we spoke about with Soldiers. We are here on Sportswire Radio continuing this war between the DKW and the IMF, and I want everybody to follow. If you are on YouTube right now, to follow the Midwestern Federation. Please follow them at IMF Wrestling 666. Also, Dark Cryptic Wrestling on YouTube. Please follow them on their platforms. But, Darkron, I had asked this question to Soldier when he was on the show Thursday night. And I had spoke about the fact that here's a guy that's defending a championship in a promotion he doesn't work for and holds a title for a promotion he doesn't work for. That was your championship. That was your baby. Unlike Forsaken, who's carrying the DKW title for a championship he doesn't seem to care much for, but gets satisfaction that people that want the title don't have the title. That's got to burn at you more than anybody else that's on here. So talk about that.
Talk about my title on the line. I ain't going to lose my title yet.
Yeah, I was the only one ballsy enough to put a title on the line.
It's like that meme. You gotta be quicker than that.
I'm the only one that had the balls to put a title on the line when you guys came out. I just happened to lose.
Rookie mistake.
But that's gotta bother you though, Darkron. That's gotta because
man, I'm all about that.
This coming weekend, Soldier's defending this title in a promotion he don't even work for, Levi McDaniel's company. I mean, this is a big deal here. People were talking about that even last night on Sportzwire. We had these guys on.
It's going to be an even bigger deal when I beat his ass and take it back. Then I'm going to be defending against. I'll defend everybody in the House of Wolves too, just like you did, Soldier. I ain't afraid of the House of Wolves. I'll defend it against Omen.
You got a lot of talk before we ain't a champion yet.
How are you going to defend it when you can't beat me for it?
Because I know I'm going to beat you for it. I will beat you for it. I have to have my title back, and I will get my title back.
You see what I'm talking about? He has to have it. I don't care to have it.
I'll get you too.
Whatever.
I'm already working on getting a shot at you.
You're still worked up over it. You already lost, son.
Here. Kron. Here. Take it.
Oh, I'm going to take it. I'm going to
take it.
Each and every one of those titles.
Don't worry, Kron. When you fail, I'll hold your hand on how to beat them in the tag match. I beat both of them. Have you?
I beat one of them.
Lucky against me, when you just keep that down.
Just remember who buried your ass.
Yeah. Luck. You keep saying that word luck, Matt.
It ain't lucky. It's my design.
I made who you are.
All right, let me ask each of yous a question, and I'm going to actually give you guys now each the opportunity to ask one of your nemesises a question. I'm going first with one of the challengers here. That is Darkron. Darkron, I'm going to give you the opportunity. Since you're the guy that's without the title here, I'm going to give you the opportunity. You can ask anything you want to Soldier. Floor is yours now.
Soldier, what would you think if I got you with the concerto? How would that make you feel? Because that's how I'm going to end you and take my title back. I'm going to blast your ass with a concerto 3 times. I'll make sure you don't get up. I'm ending you. Then I'll challenge Omen.
See, you're talking nonsense again.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
You want to respond?
Oh, you talking to me? Oh, well, I stopped listening once you started talking, man. I'm sorry, man. The chances of you hitting me with the concerto are slim to none. I'm going to end it the way I'm going to predict. I'm going to tell you right here. It's a spoiler. I'm going to Paul Heyman you right now. July 1st, after me and Forsaken whip the both of you, I'm going to end you the way I ended you the first time. A stunner, a concerto. 1, 2, 3.
You still got to get past Omen, too.
I'm not worried about him.
Omen and me, and then face me for the hardcore title?
I like the confidence.
Me and Forsaken, I'm going to take care of you in that tag match. And Forsaken, I know is going to handle Omen. So after that tag match, all I have to do is worry about you in the hardcore title match.
I'm going to wear Omen down in the tag match.
Stunner, concerto.
You're acting like
1, 2, 3.
We'll see.
All right, before I get to Soldier, I got a couple comments here. Skulls wants to say let the bodies hit the floor. Well, we'll have to find out here coming up. Felix Jones says, Kron, how does it feel to be the only one without a title right now? LOL, which is a fair point. Listen, Felix Jones.
I feel great, huh?
You know, these guys got the prettiest gold around, and, you know, you got the figure collection. That's all you got. You got the figures. I mean, you know, sorry.
Yeah, something.
I'll give you that, but you don't have what those guys have.
That's the only money you're ever going to make wrestling.
Hold on. He has a belt somewhere on that wall in a box.
I don't.
Well, you could have said you had a toy belt, but that's here nor there. Skulls wants to say you smell that crap coming out of his mouth. Fine. Soldier, I'm going to give you then the opportunity to ask a question to anybody you want. I'm imagining it's Darkron, but if it's not Darkron, I give you the opportunity to ask anybody here something that you want off your mind.
Darkron, how you gonna look at your son when you fail again? I don't have to beat you. You have to beat me. How you gonna look at your kid when he asks you, "Where's that belt?"
Hey,
and
Kron,
it's going back to Cedar Rapids with me.
Hey, Kron, you can just say, I don't know. How'd it feel for you?
You have to beat me. I've already beat you.
I will. I will. I know I will. Whatever it takes, I'm getting that title back.
I don't know. I just heard a little crack in your voice.
Anything
I don't think you believe you. I don't think you believe yourself.
I believe. I'm not worried about it. I think you're a little overconfident, just like I was with you.
I'm not overconfident. I'm the king of the backyard scene.
You were.
I'm Mr. Heel Life 24/7. I would stun my own mother to keep this belt.
Until DK Dub.
What happened at the Rumble? You didn't do that, and look who won.
Yeah, look who won the Rumble.
You're talking nonsense. Yeah, I broke you.
Darkron got lucky in the Rumble.
I think we kind of see where this is going.
You were eliminated by a child.
Hey, I'm going to beat that child's ass. I'm sorry, Soldier may be your son, but he bit off a little more than he could chew. A man want to handle him in the cage.
Felix is his own man.
All right.
Felix is his own man.
Felix has got some momentum right now, though. I wouldn't necessarily.
And he's going to give you a run for that belt.
I'll tell you that much, Mr. Forsaken. I'm going to give you the floor then. I'm going to give you the opportunity to address anyone you want. If you want to go and say something to Mr. Black, fine by me. Or if it's anybody else here, fine by me as well. But I give you the opportunity to ask one question to anybody you want.
All right. Omen Black. Me and you had this little rivalry going on for too long. This is kind of how this whole war started between DKW and IMF. You wanted to say something. You wanted to challenge me, the Forsaken One. So you came to Ohio. You got your title shot now. Do you regret your decision yet?
No, I don't.
Good.
You just put me in a more dangerous thing for yourself. Barbed wire around the ropes. Half the cage. Weapons are allowed. No holds barred. No rules.
Exactly.
Now, you put me in that match, and you put me in that ring, I will be nefarious. I will do wicked things.
Oh, that's exactly what I want you to do.
Belt.
Reach the dark side of your mind. I want you to bring the most evil shit you have to the table.
Okay.
It's all out hell.
Well, before I give the IMF champion an opportunity to speak, I do have a couple of more comments here because people seem to be interested in what you guys are all saying. Skull says if Kron wants a belt, GTS has a loser belt. It's so easy to win. Just give it. Well, Skull's has got a championship belt too, apparently.
I still think Kron would fail.
Ooh. Ooh, so
I even fucked that up. Shit.
no
Can't
participation
wait to
trophy.
make you eat those words.
Felix Jones says,
Wouldn't that make him
Forsaken,
fair if he fails?
how is it going to feel when you lose
Hey,
your title to a
if I
child?
lose to a child, I mean, that would be the day. I guess hell freezes over, but hell's burning hot right now.
Well, as famously Kiss sang, all hell may be breaking loose if that comes to fruition, but we'll have to see. Owen Black, I'm giving you the opportunity. I imagine you're going for Forsaken, but as everyone else, I give you the opportunity to say anything with one question for anybody that you may want.
Actually, my question isn't to any of these jokes.
Really?
The DKW management.
Okay.
My question is, are you finally going to be happy when I take this little puke off the pedestal and take that title and make it mean something?
I wonder what management
I'll
of
wait for my
DKW
answer.
would think about. That's a good question because I would wonder if there's a way to, I guess, phone DKW management or.
No,
I'm
they
saying
want
right
the
now,
push
management
back
don't
on
want me
top.
having this
That's what
title,
they
but I
want.
have it.
My question wasn't to you, Matt.
You're right. I'm telling you, management doesn't even want me to have this title. So they don't.
That makes
They
me
already
the
ain't in
perfect
control.
They want
I'm
the
in
poster
control, like I
boy.
said before.
That makes
I'm
me
the poster boy.
perfect
That's my
candidate.
title.
So can
Okay,
I
well,
ask?
you ain't got
Wait,
fucking no title.
Time out. Time out. I'm actually going to ask a question because Mr. Black actually said something very interesting, which goes back to kind of what I said a little while ago about IMF right now because IMF has got 2 of your titles. So is it fair for me, Mr. Black, to say if management can't speak, maybe it's really IMF is taking over DKW after all because you're the guys that could very well have their 2 titles coming up. We know that certainly Soldier's got one, and Felix Jones has got a Rumble elimination of Forsaken, and come June the 18th, it could be IMF champions. And Omen, we know how he feels. I mean, so I think, is it fair for me to ask that really IMF right now is kind of pushing around DKW almost like big brother, little brother, or bully in the schoolyard? Is that fair for me to say?
Who's going to push back?
That's my question.
They don't got the
I'll push
DKW
back.
title yet.
I'm gonna
But
fucking
they
swing back.
got the hardcore title. They
And
got
I'm
the
gonna take
hardcore
that
title.
IMF title here in a couple weeks. I'll get that hardcore title back. Don't worry,
Felix
that's mine.
Jones, though, he's made a
Yes, sir.
point that
If you ever
he
let me take that
eliminated.
hardcore title, I'll whip it right off you easy.
I don't think I got an answer, really. I think right now it seems to me what I asked a couple of nights ago to Soldier.
Won the
But-
asylum.
Okay, well, I tell you what. I tell you where I'm gonna get the answer. I'm gonna play the middle ground here. I'm gonna get that answer. I would imagine June the 18th when we see DKW and IMF superstars in action in the IMF sport. I think that's maybe where I'm gonna get my answer.
DKW comes back with all the titles.
And I'll tell you what, if that
June
happens,
18th.
I'll tell you what, we're gonna be back on the air with you guys, obviously after that show. And we'll talk about it. Because you guys, listen, you guys are going to be seeing each other twice in a span of 2 weeks. I mean, you guys essentially are playing almost like everybody's following sports right now. You guys are in the playoffs. Think about it. 2 times in 2 weeks, you're playing each other. It's
We
almost
are the
like
backyard scene.
Well, that's true. Listen, this is where the big boys play. When you think about DKW, you think about the IMF. This is where people aspire to be. You've had people from England talk about coming into these companies. You've had people from upstate New York talk about it. You got skulls from California talking about it. You've got people all over the world right now talking about that they want to play ball with DKW. They want to play ball with IMF. WCE's in the wings. They're waiting. It seems like maybe they want to come in. It seems like everybody wants to go and be where the big boys are. We know Anthony Steele, what he has to say. James Taylor, maybe he finally mans up because he sees here right now.
Yeah, no, he won't. No, James Taylor won't. I told you before, they're gonna find Bigfoot and the Loch Ness monster before James Taylor ends up in an IMF ring because he's scared of us.
Or maybe a Stone Cold 1997 DVD that he doesn't have.
I would say the same thing for Aaron Blaze.
Good point. Well, I'll tell you what I can do for you. I can ask James Taylor these questions in your guys' chair Sunday night, May the 28th. And if you guys aren't doing anything, by all means, maybe there'll be an invitation extended. I have a couple of comments here I want to get to here first. Felix Jones here says, speaking of DKW management, let me know who's going to get a shot at my title on July when I take it from management. That's my point. Listen, that's exactly my point. Could be a possibility. We could be seeing. Well, I'll tell you what. 2 IMF stars could be having DKW champions, so we'll have to see.
Well, to answer you, Felix, right now, you got Combat Joe about to face Phantom, and I just finished my round robin part of the tournament, so it's going to be me and the winner of that is going to get a shot after Omen.
Okay.
Forsaken.
Okay. So Skulls here would like to say I have a pitch a death by the yard match for the U.S. title. Anybody?
Who's U.S. title?
Sure, I'll do it. I don't want it for a title. No title online. I don't care.
Do you want Skulls in the ring so you could basically give him?
I'm saying it because I feel like this is James Taylor syndrome. He ain't gonna show up.
Okay, but Skulls has said he's already announced for WCE. You don't think this guy Skulls would come and wrestle you?
James Taylor's announced for IMF.
Well, I think James Taylor, though, was kind of looking at his Stone Cold DVD collection instead. I think
Here's the thing. I'm going to call it James Taylor syndrome. He's been saying show up, or I'll be there. Just left here with my dick in my hand waiting.
But this guy's a soul hunter, though. James Taylor is kind of thinking about, like, the Stone Cold match of, like, 1997 that he didn't see maybe on Raw. That's maybe the one difference, I would say.
I've yet to see one Skull, the Soul Hunter match.
That's a point.
I've seen plenty of horrible James Taylor matches.
He's got a lot of them. He's got a lot, and he actually asked you guys what was his favorite match. Boy, what a host! I mean, listen, I would never ask people, "Hey, what's your favorite interview of my career?" I mean, so interesting there. I'm going to plead the fifth on Mr. Taylor for that. I'll give him the opportunity to respond to that, though.
Can I say something?
You absolutely can.
You said something about the interviews. I want to say this. My interview alone has more views than any of that Coward Craven's ever been on.
Well,
just saying.
If I were to say to you, though, it's funny you said that, though, about Craven, right? Because you just mentioned his name. Was I hearing that correctly?
Yeah, you heard me.
Okay, all right. So if I heard you, right, if I heard you correctly, let's play along here because I wanted to let you know, especially for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, that May the 24th, 9 p.m. Central Time, Craven Rage has requested a microphone here to Sportswire Radio. I would imagine maybe you might want to hear what he has to say. Maybe even you might be in the neighborhood that day.
I rebuttal. I requested microphone on the 24th as well.
Hey, so you've requested a microphone? You would
Hold on. What day did you say Craven was on?
May the 24th, which would be Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time.
He had a lot to say during mine.
He did, and that's why I'm
I don't want to talk about that.
And we could just. So, are you saying we can just demand microphone time?
Well, I mean,
on air with the microphone in the hand. I mean, Omen, did you just demand a microphone on May 24th at 9 p.m. too? Okay, me too, because I got some things to say to him too.
So you want to say something?
I demand a microphone 9 p.m. on May 24th.
That's Central Standard Time. I want to make sure it's Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time. I think Mountain Time, it's 8 p.m. So that's the time. And that's where we'll see Mr. Craven Rage. So you guys would like to meet him.
Kron, did you hear him? May 24th, watch, and you'll be able to see your Goldie again.
Now, could I ask you a question? Let's say you guys were on the air with Mr. Rage. Is that the first time you'd be formally meeting this individual?
Yes.
Really?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I think we can arrange that. So it looks like here we might have something on Sportswire Radio that I think people, whether you're a DKW fan, IMF fan, WCE fan, or a wrestling fan in general, backyard pro wrestling, you name it, I think you should tune in. Somebody else that's also a wrestler would like to say hello, but I think he's just saying hello. That's C2K Courage to Kill. He's also from the RWA, former Puerto Rican national champion. I don't think he's that stupid, unlike some other people that have kind of, come on these shows. He's just saying greetings to all from C2K. So he just says hello. So I think
I wonder what C2K means.
Courage to Kill. It's Courage to Kill, actually.
Courage to Kill. Hey, want to come kill some DK Dub? By all means, come to Ohio.
Well, maybe he could arrange that. So, you know what? Before closing thoughts, then, I actually want to give everybody an opportunity to address anybody that's watching, anybody that you're going to be in the ring with. Obviously, something tells me I might see you individuals again very soon, or see you a hell of a lot over these next several weeks, which frankly is fine by me. But I want to go first with Dark Crime. So, Dark Crime, I want to give you the opportunity to say anything you want, whether it's anybody that's going to watch you July the 1st, June the 18th, any other places that they might see you, or anybody that hasn't got a chance to check you out. I give you the floor now.
Yeah, just watch out for us. June 18th in Iowa, IMF. I'm taking that title from Omen. July 1st. I guess we're going to have this tag match if Omen is cool with it. I can put it aside for that night.
I said I agree.
Tune in. It's going to be fun. That hardcore match is going to be the best thing you see.
I think everything is going to be the best thing that you see. I think it's going to be a phenomenal card. I don't want to sell anybody short here, but Soldier, I want to give you then the opportunity to say anything to anybody out there. You've got a show next week. I know we've kind of done this already a couple times, but since you're here, got to give you another shot. And anything you want to say to anybody else that's out there is going to watch you May the 27th, June the 18th, July the 1st. I mean, you're working overtime these days. I mean, you're going to be out there more times than Roman Reigns is. So floor is yours.
Kron, I want you to watch May 20th. Watch how I defend your title somewhere else, and I walk away the champ.
Make sure you
now, Jovi. Was it Sean Jovi, the resident rock star?
Yes, sir.
You know, the last time he talked to me, he said that he was gonna beat me till I was living on a prayer. He used a music analogy, right?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes,
just like Taylor did. But yes. I still hear the same song going through my head, Jovi. And it's LL Cool J's Mama Said Knock You Out. So when you finally pick a date, son, and you come one-on-one with Mr. Hill Live 24/7, Mama said knock you out. So I'm going to knock you out.
Well, it looks like Soldier GP might just be bad, as they might say, or as Mr. Todd Smith had famously rapped back in 1987, so we'll have to see. But before I get to Mr. Forsaken, C2K says it'll be an honor to get in the ring with everyone here. So that was, I guess, nice words. So we'll give him give him that much. C2K, well, C2K has always been one of my favorites. He always, he's a complimentary guy. But that's not about him. It's about you guys. Mr. Forsaken, I want to give you the opportunity to address anybody you desire, anybody that may watch you coming up here June the 18th, July the 1st, in this IMF DKW war that resumes. And floor is yours, my friend.
June 18th, I'm going to come to Iowa. Felix Jones. Think you're on my level? You think you're man enough? You think you're a main eventer? Think you're ready for the whole DKW World Championship? Have all that pressure? You're just going to fall short. So I'm going to grate your face against that cage. And I'm going to stomp you out and pin you 1, 2, 3 and retain my title. Then July 1st, Omen Black. Get in the ring again one more time. And see, you can't win by Mr. Retaining this time. It's all out hell. There will be barbed wire. There'll be a cage. There'll be tables and thumbtacks. I got something a little special I'm going to bring to that show that night. Something just for you. So I hope you're ready. I hope everybody watching is ready. Because soon we all shall be forsaken.
Well, we'll be doing that. But, before I get to you, Mr. Black, I actually have, I guess you might want to say, a new supporter of yours that is actually tuned in. And he is really giving you some big applause here. And he's a brute force, you might want to call him. And he says, Omen, 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 one of my top supporters on Sportswire Radio. Much respect to you all. Appreciate you all for making Sportswire great. Now, Mr. Black, can I ask you just a slight follow-up, a friendly follow-up, if you don't mind? I'm not going to say the Brute Force should get in the ring with you guys. That I'm not going to do. I'm not that stupid. And the Brute Force, I know, is going to never accept that because he's basically bowing to all you guys, and you guys are the wrestlers here. But maybe one day, I don't know, maybe the Brute Force Brad White should accompany you to the ring, Mr. Black. I mean, could you imagine a 6'5" big man accompanying you out there to the DKW and the IMF, WCE? I mean, who knows where else you'll show up? STH? I mean, I don't know, but I mean, am I on to something, or am I just a little out there? I might be out there anyway, but you say anything to that?
Like I told Brute Force, like he's an honorary house member. I would never want to fight him. I wouldn't.
Yeah, he leaves. He's not a trained guy. He leaves it to you guys to do that.
I don't have respect for a lot of people in this world, but I got respect for him.
Well, he has a poster after his college basketball career, so he does have something that I think a lot of people, which he likes to remind people of. So we'll give him that much. So big shout out to the Brute Force. Follow him on Instagram at bwise20 and Bradley Weiss on Facebook. But I want to come to you though, Mr. Black, because you get the last word here tonight, and I want to give you the opportunity to address anybody that you're going to be in the ring with upcoming, anybody that's watching that's going to see you out there in the ring along with the rest of the House of Wolves brethren, and be my guest, Mr. Black. And something tells me here you'll be seeing a lot more of us on Sportswire over these next several weeks, and especially coming up here, I don't know, maybe even this week, a wink and a nod.
Like I said, Matt, I also have a surprise for you in that match. Now, I'm not going to spoil too much for it, because I want the fans and I want you to be surprised. Now, Kron, I've already beat two of the guys that beat you. I expect you to fail again. And now, May the 20th, I'm defending my title against Chalk at the Levi McDaniels Fight Promotion. And I intend to be champion when I leave. That's all I got to say.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what, ladies and gentlemen? I think I got the sense here that tonight the war between the IMF and DKW isn't over by a long shot. There is still a lot to see, and something tells me here there is unfinished business on both sides, and that's why I want everybody to follow, especially on YouTube, where you can watch footage of these great companies. Dark Cryptic Wrestling, that's with 2 Ks. Also, IMF Wrestling 666 on YouTube, IMF_wrestling on Instagram, and also follow and like their Facebook page, because you are going to be seeing, at least on Sportswire Radio, a hell of a lot more content, a hell of a lot more programming related to these two great companies. And something even tells me that we might even see the IMF individuals real soon on some other companies' time on Sportswire. Gentlemen, I want to thank you for the opportunity. I'm looking forward to watching you guys here in the ring coming up, especially your IMF shows on May 27th, June 18th, DKW July 1st, and the Levi McDaniels show coming up here next weekend. And also happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. And thank you, gentlemen. And hopefully I could see you guys here real soon.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we were joined here tonight by the IMF Rumble in the Yard winner, Darkron, the DKW Hardcore Champion of the World, Soldier GP, the Popular Monster, Heel Life 24/7, Forsaken himself, the reigning, defending DKW World Champion, Matthew Forsaken, and last but certainly not least, from the House of Wolves, the man himself, the IMF World Champion, 5'11", 385 pounds, Mr. Omen Black, as these guys are going to continue their war, the war that is the talk of the wrestling world between DKW and the IMF, My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, and if you're on sportnarium.com/player, you go back to your regularly scheduled programming. If you're on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, thank you for tuning in. I'll be back here Tuesday night, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. British Standard Time, with Wrestling Appreciation Society's Matthew Royale. So we'll have a lot to talk about with him. Tune in for that, but thank you, everybody, for tuning in on the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio. Good night, and happy Mother's Day to everybody out there once again. Good night, good afternoon, good morning.